Ajde, možemo da zatvorimo vrata. Dobroveče svima. Večeras je sa nama naša gošća i mi ćemo se prebaciti na engleski, jer prosto da bismo svi sve razumeli, tako? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Tonight we have the honor of welcoming Irstress to our humble convention. She's our guest from Bulgaria, and she has been Bulgarian nominee for Euro cosplay competition. So, good evening. Her name is Irina Capreva. She's going to introduce herself. Good evening, Irina, and welcome.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am really excited to be here. This is actually my first panel and actually my first foreign convention besides Euro cosplay. So it's really nice to see you all here. And okay, so what are we going to talk about first?
So, would you like to tell us something about yourself, perhaps from the beginning, how you started cosplaying?
Well, ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved costumes, masquerading. Halloween was my favorite holiday of the year. Well, besides Christmas, it's presents and all, and now it's food. And also we had this annual spring carnival in school, and usually my classmates would just rent a costume like 2 days before the event, but I would always prepare and buy costumes from foreign sites, and I didn't know that was cosplay back then, because I actually wanted to dress up as characters who inspired me. But later I discovered the magical world of anime, and with that came the cosplay, and I found out we have somewhat of a little cosplay society in Bulgaria, and found out about events, so naturally I went to a couple of events, just in the audience, dressed as a gothic police. It was my thing back then, and it was really magical, like seeing so many characters that I've watched, in animes come to life. And I thought, gosh, I really want to give it a try as well. So my first costume.
Yeah, well, they always like to say to people, cosplayers are primarily fans of their own franchises, so they of course enjoy it a lot and they're passionate about it as much as you are. So,
this was actually my first cosplay, my costume from Sofiji. And I didn't really intend to cosplay on stage. I was too shy for that. I was that little awkward nerd who would just stay in the corner. But I decided to give it a try and see if it works. So I went to a little event. It was very little. We were like, I don't know, 10 contestants. My costume, it wasn't even handmade. I just gathered some materials like vest, shirt, tie. My coat was actually bought from a cosplay store by my parents. And the only thing I actually crafted was the site, with a lot of help from my parents again. So I went to the convention and I had those basic fears that I think every cosplayer that is new to the community has. Like, I was afraid they weren't gonna like me, that they would laugh at me. But when I went to the event, I realized that we're all like nudes in costumes, and we were all newbies, and everyone was so friendly. And I actually went on stage and did my thing, and there was actually one of the cosplayers. He was way older than me. And I told him that I was very nervous. He saw that, and he just went up to me and said, "Hey, kiddo, you don't need to worry. That's not scary. Like, you just go up there, do your thing, and that's it." And I just did it. And it felt great. It felt really, really great. And after the event, there were so many people who just wrote to me that they had enjoyed my performance and they had liked my costume. And the feeling was indescribable, because especially for someone who was used to being an outcast in a community that doesn't approve cosplay, and they say anime is for little children, blah 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 blah. And so I had actually found my place, and that's why I continued doing it.
So you stayed in the community. So your performing, the feeling itself, did it change anyhow? I mean, every time you did it again, did you have some new experiences?
The first few times I did it, I was really, really nervous, and actually, every time I went on stage, my legs would start shaking crazy, and I almost fell down one time. But I had a dancer choreography, so I kind of just played it off. This was totally supposed to happen. I'm not falling or anything. No. And, it's a little. I feel way calmer when I'm on stage with friends, because there's just something really calm when you're not the only human being people are staring at. But now,
this is easier with friends.
Yeah, that's right. But now that I've done quite a lot of performances, when I go on stage, I don't feel that scared or nervous anymore. I actually feel pretty relaxed. Although, for example, when I went to stage during the Euro cosplay, my legs were shaking again. It was that old feeling. And I was really scared because I was in a really tight dress and really high heels and with my legs shaking like noodles. Not that noodles shake, but yeah. I was really afraid I was going to fall, but I didn't. So what I'm trying to say is that it's actually not scary. It seems scary, but it isn't when you get used to it. Yeah.
So you mentioned Euro cosplay. Would you like to tell us something about your costume? You did it for it, and I mean, when you got nominated as the Bulgarian representative, what was the feeling like, and what was your trip to London like?
Oh God. So, first of all, this is my photo. When I decided to do the cosplay for the qualifying event, I actually didn't really want to apply for Euro cosplay. Like, at first when I was signing up and there was the question, do you wish to apply? I was like, nah. Because I didn't think I was cut out for it. Like, it's a big international competition, and I'm like this tiny nerd who just likes to craft. But as time progressed and my costume progressed, and it didn't actually look awful, because I actually thought I was going to fail, since the character is pretty unusual. I hadn't done anything like this. I actually decided to apply, and when I got nominated, I was pretty surprised actually. I didn't really expect it. And so I was really happy and really, really nervous and scared at the same time, because, it's a big international competition. But I actually remade some of my costumes parts. For example, I made an entirely new hat, just kept the ornaments, because there were some flaws with my old one. And also had to make the stage prop. You've probably seen it in the book, it's exhibited outside. And in order to ship all this to London, we had to stuff it in a big box, and by big I mean really big, the size of my wardrobe. And I'm actually going to show it to you. It looks slightly better. But yeah, so that's the book, the dress, the hat, the wig, everything, and it weighs about 32 kilos. And the funny part is, it didn't actually fit in the airport's X-ray, both the Bulgarian and the English one, so we kind of had to unscrew it and remove the stretch, so that's why it looks so awful. Yeah, and
talk about huge cosplays.
Yeah, well, I decided to go big or go home. That's what I get. And also, when we arrived, we had to carry this big thing to the event center and move we were 4 people carrying it from the east entrance to the west entrance, and that's a pretty big distance. We're just carrying it with our hands on our shoulders, every possible way. But the security actually refused to let us in because it was too big, and we could have hurt someone or something. But we actually managed to get it in, and the costume actually arrived in one piece, almost. I had to fix some things, but yeah, and you know, when I first got nominated about your cosplay, one of the parts I was scared about is socializing with people, because I'm extremely awkward, in case you can see. And you know, all of the competitors, they're experienced cosplayers, and in my eyes that was pretty scary, like I'm going to meet with the pros. And actually, here I am standing there, and one of the roles comes to me, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, your costume is amazing, how did you do this, how did you do that?" And it was pretty great, like, all of my idols even, because I had stalked some of those people for ages. They just came up to me and complimented my work, and everyone was so nice. I thought they were going to be big-headed or something. No, they were all nerds in costumes. It was really great.
We all are nerds in costumes, I think, still. No matter how many years we do this. Would you like to talk something about the process of work? When you see a costume, how do you choose what to do with it, how to make it come to life?
Oh, well, that's kind of a complicated question, since
Does it differ? I guess it differs
have a
from...
plan when I'm working. You know, I just watch an animation usually and see a character. For example, on Work, I just saw the trailer of the movie at first, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm so totally doing this. After that, I saw all the details, and I was like, oh, okay. So what I'm trying to say is that some characters that may look pretty simple at first sight actually turn out to be pretty damn hard to make. And worst part is I never know what to do, because there are cosplayers who, for example, stick only to making armor or sewing huge dresses, which is really great, but I try to experiment, and almost every costume I do is something entirely new. So, for example, my Lumarte costume, since it's my newest mask, the wig. I just need to make it 3D, no problem. That was my entire plan for a week. So, what I did is I just piled up like wadding and absolutely randomly cut it until I kind of shaped something. And it actually worked.
So you start from an idea, then start developing and see where it goes.
Very vague idea. I never know what to do. And when I was crafting my backtrack unit in Borderlands, I believe I have it right. Okay, so my huge giant robot that is this thing, it started out like this. It looks like a nun in diapers. And I just kept piling things up, and it didn't really look like anything at all.
But in the end it looked perfect.
But in the end, I painted it, even like when I painted it, it still didn't look great. When I applied the shading and all, bam, I had a robot. Wow,
yes.
Did I really craft this? So, you know, there are many people I've met that have said to me that they want to cosplay, but they can't because they're afraid they can't craft and they're going to fail while crafting. And you know, there's nothing wrong in failing. Behind each one of my successful costumes,
yeah, it doesn't kill it, makes you stronger. It's the experience.
Failures, yeah. So you will fail, and so what? Like everyone fails. That's how you learn.
Yeah, they say that people learn from failures even more than they learn from successful projects and stuff. So, would you like to perhaps tell us something about your favorite characters? How do you pick them? Do you like a specific sword? Perhaps a pattern you follow? Some of your characters you did or are planning to do?
I don't have a specific pattern when choosing a character. I just usually watch a bunch of cartoons. I'm currently into Western animation. And sometimes I just happen to see a character that I like visually, and then when I keep watching and you know, get to know them, their personality, and you know, I just
can you show us your photos and, you know, just talk about this character?
For example, it's a pretty, you know, it's a pretty plainly drawn cartoon, no details whatsoever. But you know, those cartoons, they require some imagination in order to bring your character into real life. For example, most Princess Bubblegum cosplays I've seen out there are made with wigs. But if you think about it, your character is made out of gum, which implies that your character doesn't really have real hair. It should be gum as well. So that's actually a hat thingy made out of fabric, which I covered with liquid rubber and then painted and made it glossy. It actually looks pretty legit.
It does look more than legit, trust me.
Yeah, okay, that's Mother Gothel from Rapunzel. Thank God. Yeah. Interesting thing with the costume is that I don't know if you can see. Okay, maybe I can zoom out. You know, the dress patterns, they're all hand-painted because curse you Disney for making strange
simple designs turn out to be the
toughest because at first you look at it and you think, that's so simple, like, look at the dress. And then you see patterns. Okay, I can find it in the store anywhere. I'll just dedicate a month to, you know, painting them. How hard can it possibly be? Like my heart. And you know, while I was painting it, I was really tired and I just accidentally pushed the jar of paint and it spilled over the dress. And I had to wash it very quickly, but there are still some stains on it.
It's a battle scar on your dress.
Yeah, battle scars all the way. Okay, I don't know if anyone will recognize this. It's from an animation called Super Gel. It's on Adult Swim and it's really, really sick. So they're, again, pretty simple designs.
Yeah, it's a recommendation from your side then.
Yeah, well, if you're not into really, really weird high stuff, you probably don't want to watch it, but if you are, then that's the thing for you. That's just some Morticia Adams. I didn't follow any.
These are the com photos, if I'm not mistaken, yes? These are the com photos, this one.
Yeah. It's from an adventure the first day, the second I was from Muerte. So, I usually choose pretty plain looking characters, but for example, this her name is Lucille from a lovely French animation I really recommend. It's called A Monster in Paris. So if we really zoom it, those are all pearls, and they're like
patterns.
20,000 I think, or 25,000, I kind of don't remember. They're all hand-sewn. And the angel wigs, all the feathers, my father knew a guy who breeded
he was a farm, yes?
Yes, so I just gathered them feathers and glued them one by one.
Oh, that's perfect.
And it looks pretty simple, but when when you look into it, it's actually pretty complex. So I suppose this is actually the kind of cosplays I do like most often. Yes.
They look simple, but they're very complex.
Yeah, my future projects, for example, I don't know, has anyone here like played or watched playthroughs of Undertale? Oh, that's great. Well, I really want to cosplay Undyne. But Undyne, she's a fish person, she doesn't have a nose. She has like gills and her head is kind of shaved with a ponytail and it looks...
It smells like prosthetics and everything.
Yeah. So actually this year I'm most probably going to start a course for prosthetic making. So that's pretty much the things we do for cosplay.
Yeah, I know. Things we do for cosplay. So would you like perhaps to show us the other photos of your cosplays? I'm sure people would like to see them. I see right over there. Yeah, you can just, roll them over.
I kind of had them in chronological order, so that's my first one, and we actually could have a professional photo shoot, which kind of saved my cosplay, because otherwise the costume isn't that great, I could say. This is Susret Cleaner in my second cosplay. It kind of sucked.
Oh, come on.
Aww. Katsunamiko, during my wild otaku period. Special thing about it, those little thingies, they glow, they respond to music.
Ah, yes.
Sad thing is I didn't craft it, I just bought those. But still I did some things in the costume, and then there's Bugarska flavor. He really inspired me. I really love his flamboyant personality. And I was kind of afraid to cosplay him because he's a grown man, although he's quite feminine. And I was like 15 in this photo. So just a lot of makeup that I actually didn't do myself the makeup. For a long period of time I would hire a professional makeup artist to do my makeup for me because I was too scared. But now I think I'm confident enough to make it myself, and it's not how that bad. So, there's nothing to be ashamed of if you don't do your cosplays yourself or there's someone else doing the makeup styling for you, because after all, none of us start out knowing how to do everything.
Of course, everyone has to start somewhere, or, just take a break from all that crafting or something.
How do you switch?
You should.
And that's with a chainsaw. One thing about the chainsaw is it actually moves like it spins. Let me just show it. Unfortunately, I don't have the individual spinning chainsaw with me, but that's a motor from a screwdriver. I didn't do it myself back then, but I'm still pretty proud of it because I got to craft a box. And I love boxes, and that's my
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What else do I have? That's viola cloth from Soul Calibur, and it's Wonderflex. Like this, when I discovered complex materials that aren't actually complex, they make everything easier. So about my other black cosplay photos. Okay, so this is viola. And this is viola before I enhanced some stuff on the costume. This is Soil, Soul Calibur 4. This is the crappiest weapon I've ever done. It's a poor excuse of a rapier because I made it entirely out of Wonderflex and just had like a big plastic stick. Yeah, it was basically like a noodle. I tried to, swing it, move with it. It goes like. And it was fun to watch. Kind of.
Hecosaur.
That's me trying to be badass.
Yes.
Okay, that's Lucille. That's this monster here. And this my dead shot in it, apparently. And I just love this photo shoot. That's why I have so many shots with it. This is work from over the garden wall. I don't know if it rings a bell. He's basically like, I don't know, 14-year-old little boy with ears that stick out like that. And it was more of a side project, but I'm still pretty content with how it turned out. Doing the thinkables. Mother Goddess, Super Gel, Morticia, the big monster, umbrella lady, piñata, birthday cake, whatever. And it's a female Riddler. I really love the Riddler from Batman, like for the franchise, and I really love Scarecrow, but they're kind of male, so I'm usually quite afraid to gender bend a character, but well, when you love a character that much, I suppose you could at least give it a try. I'm actually pretty satisfied with the result. And we apparently hate the bat.
There goes Batman.
Yeah, that foolish imbecile.
Awesome. So, tell me, would you like to say something to our guys over here concerning cosplay? Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom.
Something you consider important.
Gosh, I wish I was wise. Well, one of the things I already told you, if you're afraid that, you can't craft a certain thing and that's holding you back from, cosplaying, you shouldn't be worried, because you can always try, and even if you fail, you will have, the chance to learn from your mistakes, and then try to do it again, even if it's after a certain amount of time. And eventually, if you want it, like, really much, you will be able to achieve it, because I didn't know how to craft anything, and by anything, I mean anything. But, as time progressed, I learned how to do things, and I learned them by trying and failing and trying again and succeeding. So that's it, just don't be afraid to experiment. And, another thing that I've noticed around the internet mostly, there are people who cosplay certain characters not because they like the characters, but because they think that the public, the mass of people will like the character because it's popular, it's mainstream or whatever. And when they cosplay such characters, if they're not really into it, you can see that they're not investing their own. And cosplay is about having fun and bringing your favorite characters to life. So I just suggest, if you stay true to your fandoms, don't do anything because you think that is going to make, the crowd happy. Do it because of yourself and because you enjoy it, because that's what cosplay is all about, right?
Do we have some questions for our guest here? Yes? Could we have a microphone over there? We need one there, the other side. Thanks. Yes.
I wanted to ask you, because you craft a lot, and what do you think of people who, for example, I like to craft and I would love to make cosplays, but I don't want to perform on stage or wear them ever. I want to do them for other people, and I don't know how to do that, and is that acceptable in any competitions?
there's nothing wrong in crafting just for, you know, even if you don't ever want to go on stage, that's okay, because it's about... Okay, what is your question exactly? Like, what are you wondering about, or whether it is acceptable or not, the crafting for just cosplaying in the crowd, or...?
Well, I want to know if I can compete with the costume, but me not wearing it, because I don't want to, and I don't want to be a character, I just want to make things.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question? Just a bit louder so we can hear you.
I want to make cosplay, but I don't want to wear it on stage. I want to make it for other people, but I wanted to compete with those costumes.
So... you don't want to compete with a costume, but you... Well, in my opinion, it's pretty acceptable. Like, as I said, there's nothing to be ashamed of having other people craft your costumes for you. And, you know, there are different kinds of events. There are events that require that the competitor, you know, should craft the costume themselves. But those are like strictly competitive, and you know it's very noble to have the desire to make costumes for other people, and I think that's really great and that's admirable.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any other questions? Okay, can we get the microphone?
Oh gosh, sorry for being so awkward, guys.
Okay.
Is this thing on? First of all, do you know what Le Grill is?
What?
Le Grill.
Le Grill.
In one Simpson episode, Homer Simpson tries to set up a barbecue, and he messes up so much. He even tries, after it's ruined, finds instructions, sees English siren, tries to read French and yell Le Grill. So he frantically starts to pile up things randomly in idea that he will make it better. Then sometimes, then after some time, he says, "Yeah, that's fine looking grill." Then yells, "Why doesn't mine look like that?" Have you ever had any those kind of situations, and how did you deal with that?
Like when it doesn't turn out well, when you
when you have idea how to do things, you do things, and it falls apart.
Well, that happens like quite often, and I usually just start over and try, you know, with a different plan, a different way to make things. Because when you try to make something and you see it isn't working, I think you shouldn't really force it the way it is. Maybe you should just try to do it another way, and maybe you will succeed like that.
And do you have any fandoms that you haven't yet tried to make cosplay from?
And what?
Do you have any other fandoms that you haven't yet made cosplays from?
Well, as I said, I would really love to make Undertale cosplays, and you know, there are actually tons of Western animations I want to make cosplays from, but for example, if you've seen Steven Universe,
yes.
Like, okay, so of the gems and the characters, there are different body types. For example, my body type doesn't match almost any of them except for example, Oppo, who though has like 4 hands. and that's pretty difficult. But I still plan on covering all of my fandoms when I have the chance, so some of my beloved characters I just leave for later development when I think I will have the skills to do them.
Given up a chance.
Anything else?
Okay, we have one there.
I see that your pictures are really beautiful and you look really nicely done, and they're really nicely done. And you look like you know what you're doing in front of camera, so I thought, does your friends take pictures of you or studios? And how do you feel when you're at photo shoot?
Well, almost every time there's different people taking pictures. So for example, the Macabre ones, the Grail, the Lucille ones, they're all shot in studios with a professional photographer. So at the beginning, for example with Maca, I had absolutely no idea what to do. And the photographer would just guide me, because before doing a photo shoot, I just take a pile of reference pictures with cool poses the certain characters makes, and I try to recreate, but I cannot always fully recreate, because there is sometimes that moment that what looks really great when drawn on a fan art or in a movie doesn't look that great in real life, so you just have to use your imagination, think of what the character might do, what poses they'll make. And there isn't anything I specifically do for a photo shoot. It's just like this, I gather a bunch of reference pictures, think about the character, and then we just do lots and lots of shots. Like the ones you see here, they're the chosen ones, but behind them there are like thousands of frames and shots, and most of them look hilarious and ridiculous. So you're seeing a finished product that has been done after tons of trying out different poses.
In some pictures, the background is from internet, right? And are you editing pictures yourself, or?
Oh, well, from those pictures, no, but I am currently trying to edit pictures myself. And of course I cannot do that great because they're professional photographers and editors. But I try to learn small things like, for example, changing a plain sky with a cloudy sky in Photoshop. And it turns out pretty well. And I was actually able to edit a photo decently by changing a sky, for example, only after like 2 YouTube tutorials, or whenever I feel like it and have the time, I just scroll through different kinds of tutorials and try to educate myself as much as I can, and maybe one day I will actually be able to edit photos professionally.
Any more questions? Right, we have one.
They light up. They're actually repurposed Christmas lights. I believe I have a couple of instances. Okay, so each candle is like a little tube out of Eva foam, and I glue it like so. She's the real crafter, actually. Yeah, so I insert the LEDs. As for the decoration of the candles, this is liquid rubber, and I apply it like you apply frosting on a cake, with funnels and it usually turns out pretty decently, looking like wax dripping. And I make a ton of those, and after that, just let me find it. Okay, this is the electric circuit. They're just all soldered together, and there's a battery box right beneath that pile of flowers, because the pile is actually a pile of foam. I'm pretty sure I had this thingy. It has a hole, and into that little hole here I fit the batteries for the circuit, plus a bag of sea salt in order to keep it balanced, because you know it's not round, it's more of a drop-like shape. So when I put the hat on, it leans backwards, so I had to balance it somehow. So it's a fancy bag of sea salt. At first it was a bag of rice, just in case you want to know. And for the flames, they're just regular transparent plastic sheet, and I painted them with acrylic paint. And that's the finished result we get. They look pretty decent.
Any more questions, guys? Okay.
Your opinion about Handsome Jack?
About Handsome Jack.
Yes.
Downright, he's handsome, but he's also a bastard, and I don't really like him. Being so original, rubbing into my face, talking about the diamond pony butt stallion. Yeah. Oh, maybe I am kind of jealous. I've always wanted a butt stallion. But I didn't say that. I didn't hear anything.
Anything else, guys? Okay. That's it then. Maybe have a big applause for our guests. Just a reminder that the display on the Cosplay Workshop stand up on the second floor, so come and check it out in person.